The level of destruction here in Dobropillia is something, honestly, I don't think I've seen maybe anywhere or any time in this war.
As Russia's summer offensive campaign stalls across the front line, there is one part of Ukraine where Moscow is attacking as fiercely as ever: the Donbass region.
A little reminder that artillery hasn't disappeared from this war yet.
Failing to take the city of Dobropillia by storm, Russia has resorted to razing it to the ground. We traveled to the ruined city deep inside the kill zone to see for ourselves. The most dangerous part of any military embed is the road in and out. We join a drone team on rotation.
It's early morning here in Donetsk Oblast, and we're in the middle of a Ukrainian armored vehicle. It's covered in anti-drone protection, and that is exactly what's needed for the place that we're going into. We have just set off into the city of Dobropillia in Donetsk Oblast, which is now one of the main angles of attack for Russia's 2026 offensive. They haven't had too much success at the moment, but the military is telling us that they've brought in more reinforcements to try and overwhelm the defense of the area. One of the brigades defending this area, the Dobropillia sector, is the 15th Brigade of Ukraine's National Guard, better known as Kara Dag. We've worked with them before in Kharkiv Oblast, but now they have moved here to join the 1st Corps of the National Guard, better known as Azov. We're going in with a shift change at the moment. We've just received the all clear that there are no drones currently seen in the sky, which is the most important thing for a pretty sketchy rotation in and out. So the journey will take probably about half an hour, and hopefully all goes well and we'll see you inside the city.
With us is Vitaly, the brigade's press officer, who has taken us to combat positions across the front line.
Не буду посміхатися, бо подумають, що не на війні. Нормальні люди, коли їдуть в Добропілля, не улыбаються.
The Dobropillia area is one of the most important sectors of the front line for Ukraine. Advancing here would allow Russian forces to approach the so-called Donbass fortress belt from behind, crippling Ukraine's defense of the entire region. In August last year, Russian forces came close to achieving that with a surprise mass infiltration that penetrated over 15 kilometers behind Ukrainian lines. In a rapid response, the breakthrough was cleared over the next few months, but the danger remained. The key to any successful rotation is speed. As soon as we get out, we hear a drone explode just about a block away. It's not clear if it was targeting us. Our day in a city where death from above is everywhere has begun. Our base in Dobropillia is with one of the brigade's first-person view or FPV drone teams working out of the city.
So after a pretty intense infill where you could just see the guys, moving extremely quickly, shouting at each other, get everything out of the vehicle, we come into the position, and this is what I see. I thought it was a screensaver at first, meant to calm the mind, but what it actually is the camera feed of a fiber optic ambush drone, basically just waiting for the word that Russian soldiers or vehicles are in the area and waiting to pounce. This is a tactic that the Russians started using maybe a year and a half ago, and now we see the results. Sometimes it's Ukraine that also copies. These can just sit here for hours without basically using any battery because of the fiber optic cable, and it's just one of the things that makes moving forward in the current kill zone so tough. This is just another one of those reasons why in the 5th year of full-scale war now, where the drone saturation has really matured to the point where even if Russia makes this city one of their main objectives of the summer, even if they bring new forces in to attack, they just watch from the sky and there are these things waiting in the grass, ready to dive up and pounce.
For breakfast, fresh soup served by camera-shy crew member Alexei, call sign Kok. Cities like this offer plenty of basements for drone teams to work out of, but they come with one serious downside, which we'll find out about later. The pilot here is Vadim, call sign Khmuri. Having served most of his adult life in the military, for Khmuri, Russia's war against Ukraine is by now his entire universe. Over the last few years, he retrained to become one of the brigade's top FPV pilots.
А до служби я працював на дитячих атракціонах, тобто батути, дитячий тір, де, слава Богу, стріляти навчився влучно. Я навчився літати на FPV-шці, ще коли я був піхотинцем. І я навіть не хотів і не мріяв бути FPV-шником взагалі. Я просто понадивився тіктоків, там, де спортивні FPV, невеличкі такі, фрістайлом займаються, літають там по будинках, там крутять сальтухи, все. І мені просто було цікаво, як воно літає. Ну, я розумів, що це дуже складно, і це був, як сказати, як виклик самому собі, чи зможу я навчитися. Будучи піхотинцем, з власного досвіду скажу, що навіть там, той піхотинець, який там, зміг там, до 10 росіян вбити, це дуже велика справа. Тобто. А тут ти маєш змогу нищити росіян. Це ж самому тобі потрібно, тому що якщо ти не будеш їх вбивати, вони прийдуть тебе штурмувати, і тобі вже з позиції прийдеться відбивати уже з автомата цей штурм. Ще йде азарт, адреналін, азарт, щоб побільше вбити росіян, тому що в тебе є така змога їх нищити прямо отак. Як то кажуть, як сімечки щолкать.
After breakfast, the team launches a fresh fiber-optic drone, an irreplaceable tool on a battlefield full of uneven terrain and jamming devices.
Тут ворог намагається все своє саме таке цінне заховати чим може подальше, щоб ми його там не знайшли, не уразили. Тому що всі склади, техніка, все знаходиться дуже далеко, чим ми, наприклад, звичайним оптоволокном не сильно можемо дістати. Але в нас є інші засоби, які дістають і виконують цю роботу. Ну, тобто, якби вони не ховалися, все одно вони не сховаються.
Khmuri's destination is a coal mine just east of the nearby town of Rodinske. For almost a year, Russian forces were held back here in some of the most intense fighting of the front line. Now, the ruins of what used to be the lifeblood of the town are home to Russian drone teams. Khmuri scans the scene of broken concrete and twisted metal, looking for any signs of an active position.
Ну, тут полезно позаглядати по всім будівлям. Вони ж тут можуть ховати техніку. Оп, бачите, сітка закрита. От значить тут щось знаходиться. От, як виявляти, що де замасковано.
Ну так, ви на цьому місці.
Ех. Обрив.
Там тільки що димка пішла.
Ні, це не збили. Це просто обірвалося. Оце дуже великий мінус того, що тут постійно каби, постійно обстріли. І тобто постійно перебивається оптоволокно. І важко працювати в такому темпі.
Ви не бачите?
In all our conversations about the fighting here, one thing keeps coming up: glide bombs. With no success assaulting on the front line, Russia resorts to these crude but powerful weapons, to which Ukraine still has no answer. Dobropillia has become a favored target, and for any soldiers living and working in the city, life becomes a lottery. Shallow basements like this offer no protection from a direct hit.
По нам теж кап прилетів. Ми виходимо на старшого, кажемо, у нас тут неподалік десь рядом каби упали. Хлопці виходять на вулицю, кажуть, у нас трохи під'їзду нема. Кажу, в смислі, що по нам? Ну да, по нам. Ми дивимося, у нас тут проход був по підвалу до суміжників тут. Ми дивимося, проход між нами трошечки завалений. Ми такі, Созвонились, мужики, живі, живі, все хорошо.
Ну там ще реально.
Ну, велика проблема ці каби. Ну, це типа нюанс Добропілля, да? Що міська забудова і просто.
Це нюанс Донецької області, каби. Це дуже великий нюанс. Якщо FPV-шки можна заховатися, можна розчитувати на те, що навіть якщо десь не сховався, вона не розірветься, там, або ще щось не спрацює, там плата ініціації, то каб є каб.
Nearby glide bomb impacts are not only heard, but felt through the floor, the walls, and the ceiling.
Давайте за мною. Доганяйте, доганяйте. А десь біля нас тут падає. Двері відкриваються. Ну, такі в нас веселі баси тут.
It's a quiet day for the drone team, so we decide to venture outside. Dobropillia used to be a living, thriving city, with its coal mine and enrichment plant a pillar of the local industry and employer of thousands of residents. As the fighting intensified around nearby Pokrovsk, the city became a forward logistics hub for the military, and a place where soldiers, volunteers, and journalists could stay in relative safety. Last summer, everything changed when the first Russian FPV drones arrived. Now, this is a place where any patch of open ground must be crossed quickly. A city which, while still far from being occupied, has been emptied of all life.
You can see the level of destruction here in Dobropillia is something, honestly, I don't think I've seen maybe anywhere or any time in this war. Feels more than the almost completely surrounded Pokrovsk that we were in last year. This fire was the result of a drone strike just an hour or so ago. But if you look at the big apartment buildings, there's just destruction everywhere. They're almost all burnt. They have big chunks cut out of them. And that's mostly from what it looks like an extremely intense glide bomb campaign from Russian forces. You never know at this point whether that sound, that high whir of the FPV is a friendly one taking off or an enemy one looking for targets. At the moment, we're in these trees. The best thing to do is just stay completely still. Everything you're seeing around us, just complete destruction, the constant drones, the city streets tangled in fiber optics. It's all what you see when you get really close inside the kill zone of a really intense part of the front line. This is an image and a side of the war that is barely not being seen anymore now that less and less frontline coverage is being done, especially now that attention is shifting away from Ukraine. Here at the Kyiv Independent, we are in a good position to continue to come and report from the front line. And since Ukraine is our home, we will continue to do so over summer and through the rest of the war in 2026 and beyond. If you think our work is important and you want to support independent journalism from Ukraine, including from the very front lines, this is as good a time as ever to join us. Thank you. We've just come across here a grave of a local woman, which is one of the typical signs of a frontline city where life has just come to an end almost completely. No more services, no more volunteers, no more humanitarian aid, and no more dignified burials of those killed in this war. Now, the sign from this grave was just lying broken off there, but if we have a read, Kapitolina Kosheva, born 1939, died 6th of March 2026, born in the middle of World War II and died at what might be the beginning of World War III. At that point in March already, the situation has gotten really bad, but they say it's even worse. So we'll just respectfully put this back here. And this is what happens. This is what we saw in Mariupol en masse when Russian soldiers were surrounding the city, bombing it. We don't know how many people were killed in Mariupol just because of the fact that at that point there was just no more documenting of who is actually dying, who is staying alive, and then obviously it ended with Russian occupation now. It's not sure that Dobropillia will be occupied. It is being defended and the defense is holding, but this is what happens when the Russians get too close and the city is practically freed by Russian forces of anything resembling life.
This deep in the kill zone, any movement by vehicle becomes a magnet for the Russian drones circling above within the space of a few minutes. In these conditions, new, often primitive solutions must be found for critical frontline logistics runs. We meet a team delivering fuel, water, and other basic supplies to different positions across the city.
Нормально, Кузя? Воду нам підвозить БМ-ка, так би мовити, сюди на склад. У нас такий умовний склад. І ми далі вже вручну на тележці, НРКшка є, доставляємо воду на позиції дронщикам, які потім надалі на дронах їх скидують на позиції ті, що знаходяться на нулю.
НРКшки рідко, тому що ви бачили, скільки їх там на дорозі.
Ага.
Зараз в основному люди ножками. Нас називають ножки. Да, ми ж чуємо, бачимо, чуємо. Якщо НРКшка, вона бачить тільки там дорогу, а зверху літають, можуть підбити. Якщо побачили, слышали, то десь під дерево ховаємось, пережидаємо і потім знову рухаємось. Буває по 2, по 3 ходки, буває більше. Буває сьогодні 4 часа утра нас підняли, щоб там допомогти НРКшки випутатися. Двоє котять, один наблюдає, небо слухає.
А зараз ви чекаєте?
Мы отдыхаем. Потому что мы сходку сделали, сейчас передохнем, сейчас еще пойдем.
A timely reminder that even in a war of drones, boots on the ground are not leaving the battlefield anytime soon. The constant sound of drones in the air means we spend more time taking cover than moving. Soldiers tell us to get back to base before the evening glide bombs arrive, usually around sunset. Not that it will matter if they land right on top of us. These glide bombs, in their traditional group of 4, land just a few hundred meters away.
The city of Dobropillia used to be a place that we would stay, we would use as a base. It was far enough from the front line and it was pleasant. There were parks, restaurants, cafes. The city was living. And even the famous coal mine, which this Soviet-era Palace of Culture is named after, was still working, even though the front was getting closer and closer. I remember the last time we drove through here was in July last year, and just a few days after that, the city was attacked by a swarm of FPV drones. And basically since then, it has emptied out bit by bit, and now the drones have been joined by the glide bombs. All of the destruction you see, almost all of it, is from the glide bombs, and I still can't get my head around what has happened to this place in less than a year.
Usually, even in cities this close to the front line, we still see civilians milling around near their basements, holding on to their homes until the very end. But here, in 3 hours walking around Dobropillia, we don't see a single one.
Well, that was a little reminder that artillery hasn't disappeared from this war yet.
We return to base before the evening glide bombs arrive. As nightfall approaches, the drones are joined by the evening call of migrating birds. In the basement, Kok is preparing another feast. Buckwheat, canned pork, and fresh vegetables, grown in the last parts of Donbass not yet infested by drones and glide bombs.
Будуть дивитися, казати, йо-моє, що вони їдять?
Це ви зробили? Чи Льоша? Льоша.
The dinner feels especially surreal. The comfort of a home-cooked meal after a long and difficult day, shared in a once peaceful city that now can await only more death and destruction. In a week from now, this basement will be buried under rubble by a Russian glide bomb. Khmury and his sapper Hutzel will have rotated out by then and will survive to fight another day. But Kok, together with another crew member from the shift change, will be killed. With proper equipment impossible to bring into the city to clear the rubble, their bodies will remain here. Even in a city where death is everywhere, those defending it here understand how much life there still is left to fight for.
З чого всі взяли, що війна закінчиться? Коли вона зупинялася? Просто колись вона не стосувалась нас. Тобто я так само колись навчався в школі, навчався в технікумі. Війна мене не стосувалася, а хтось воював на Донбасі, в АТО. Ми жили мирним життям, війна нас не стосувалася. Так само до цього їздили там, я не знаю, в Грузію допомагали наші пілоти, наші гелікоптери вивозили мирне населення. Це так само була війна з Росією. Війна не зупиняється вже сотнями років з Росією, і вона не закінчиться взагалі. Тобто вони не перестануть хотіти забрати нашу землю, нашу територію, тому що це Росія. Це країна-окупант, яка хоче в будь-якому випадку забрати. Можливо, з часом це трошечки по-іншому буде, але це буде.
For Khmury, thoughts about the end of the war are not only an unnecessary distraction, but a frightful unknown.
Дивіться, в мене ні дівчини, ні жінки, ні сім'ї, нічого немає. Моя сім'я – це от хлопці, це побратими, все, я тут живу, це моє життя. Я собі не уявляю на гражданці, от слова зовсім. Я не знаю, якщо я звільню з армії, тобто навіть не з армії, якщо закінчиться війна, зараз скажуть, хлопці, йдемо додому. Я не знаю, що мені робити вдома. Розумію, що треба якось вливатись в цивільне життя, щось думати, якось думати, де заробити грошей. Я не знаю, це для мене темний світ якийсь непонятний, от слова зовсім. Тут все понятно. От слова зовсім, ну, типу, там все дуже непонятно.
We leave Dobropillia early in the morning. With every passing week this summer, Russia is running out of time to find any kind of success on this critical part of the front line. But as positive as the headlines turn, the loss of Ukraine's best and bravest continues, as does the liberation of its cities by Russia from their very existence.
Thank you for watching this video. As always, if you like what we do and want to help us continue to bring reports like this from the front line and from all over Ukraine, please consider becoming a member of the Kyiv Independent community for as little as the price of a cup of coffee per month.